B&F Plastics is committed to innovation, quality, and excellence in all of its products and services. B&F Plastics has a rich history dating back to 1988 when it began as a screen printing company. Today, the company has evolved into a leader in material extrusion.
Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, committed to investing in the people, places, and events throughout Richmond and Wayne County. Learn more at threeriversfcu.org. Three Rivers is proud to support programs on Ball State PBS. First setting up shop in Richmond in 1927, Belden's long history as a leader in insulated wire and cable has evolved into the company being a leading global supplier of network infrastructure and digitization solutions. Belden is proud to be a part of the rich history and vibrant community of Richmond.
Now Entering Richmond is presented by Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, Belden, Bethany Theological Seminary, and B&F Plastics, with additional support from Richmond Art Museum, Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, Wayne County Foundation, Wayne County Historical Museum, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, Black Dog Printing, Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and Depot District Association. Located in Wayne County, Richmond was founded by North Carolina Quakers who settled along the Whitewater River. Often referred to as the Eastern Gateway to Indiana, the mix between farm activity and factory production led Richmond into a leadership role in East Central Indiana. Home of the legendary Jeanette Recording Studio, Richmond made its mark with music superstars like Louis Armstrong, Jelly Roll Morton, Hoagie Carmichael, Lawrence Welk, and Gene Autry. Richmond has twice received the All-American City Award and is a tourist destination with many historic districts, trendy shops, restaurants, and unique experiences. Richmond is brimming with natural beauty, unique history, and a vibrant culture.
Hi, I'm Mayor Ron Oler, and you are now entering Richmond.
I'm the founder of the Black Legacy Project of Wayne County, Indiana. In 2020, when George Floyd was killed, I was on different Zoom calls, and on those calls, it was, talking about the experiences that blacks had. Richmond had an all-black segregated firehouse up until 1966. And most people were taken aback by that, or that the only time blacks could go to the skate back in the 60s and 70s was on Tuesday nights. And they were taken aback by that. One of the gentlemen, he happened to be from Muncie, and he wanted to know more about this segregated firehouse because he really couldn't believe it. And we were doing some research at the library, and I was reading an article that said Attorney C.R. Richardson, as stated in the Richmond Blade, the all-black newspaper. I never heard of it, and I'd ask others, and no one had ever heard. So at that, I started, wanting to do research and find out what about the accomplishments and contributions that the black people of Richmond had made. I would call people and ask them, about their relatives and different things, and I just got more and more information. I started with a little spiral notebook, and it went to 2 big notebooks full of things, and I went to the museum to show them, my research, and they did not have most any of that. So that's kind of how it started with that research, and then I just got more excited, and more people called. I had people call to say, did you know that my uncle or my father or, my cousin did this or that? And then I would go to research it and add it to the catalog. The timing for me was just perfect. with George Floyd and people trying to get involved with the community, then the museum was open to look at that information and to want to display it, which was absolutely amazing that they wanted to display it. To me, there wasn't any obstacles because Richmond has always been on the down low of racial inequities. I mean, there wasn't a lot of tension. I haven't seen it. It's just like the people that I've came in contact with are excited to hear about it and are at a place that they're open to learn. Harold Jones is a famous drummer. He's played for 5 presidents, the Queen of England, Count Basie, Sarah Vaughan, Nancy Wilson. Most recently was Tony Bennett. He was with him for quite a while. So that's prominent. Bob Ross Buick, he bought his first dealership here in Richmond, which he was the first African American to have an auto dealership in the state of Indiana. He was also the first to have the dealership in the state of Ohio and West Virginia. And now that legacy has gone on with his daughter. And she has several awards. She was the second woman and first Black to be in charge of an international division or something there with the auto dealership. And her dealership is still thriving and doing very well over in Miamisburg, Ohio. So that's really exciting that they're still going on, and there's many others that are CEOs of companies. It's really interesting and heartwarming to see the accomplishments that the Blacks of Richmond are making in Richmond and afar. For me, it gives children a sense of pride. The reason that I left so many times was in my mind, there's nothing in Richmond and I can't be anything. Because I didn't know about the rich history. Black Legacy was able to put up 2 bulletin board displays in Starr Elementary School. And that was so rewarding because the second display that we were putting up, the kids were going down the hall to lunch, and pretty soon a little first grader come back and she pointed up and she said, "That's my uncle." So it was so rewarding to know that it touched one of the kids in the school, that it was somebody they recognized, and then they could share it with the other kids. And that map showed the accomplishments of people from Richmond that were in Arizona and in New York and, California, different places. I love Richmond because it's my hometown. It is a treasure trove of magnificent, wonderful, rich history of the Blacks of Richmond. And I'm so excited that that they are allowing me to tell that story.
I'm a lifelong resident of Richmond, born and raised here, and I like to call myself like a self-proclaimed community activist. Basically, since I was a teenager, I've tried to give back in the community, be involved. I've served on a number of local nonprofit boards, government boards, things like that, and always just try to play an active part in the community with each job that I've taken. And I just love being out and trying to advocate for the community and try to let people know what's going on. I think a lot of it sparks from my family history. I learned that my family was some of the original settlers here back before we were even a state or even a city of Richmond. My family originally came to America in like 1738. Henry Hoover and David Hoover were brothers, and both of them were very active politically. And it's pretty astonishing because they did not have educations growing up. They were self-taught. Henry was a state representative in the early days of Indiana. David was a state senator. David was also a judge and a clerk in the county and justice of the peace. David Hoover, my 6-time great-grandfather, made his way to what is now Richmond. They kind of came across from West Milton, Ohio, and they found an abundance of what they called building stones, timber, and just beautiful spring water everywhere, and to them it was the perfect place. So a lot of those Quakers came this way, including almost all of my family. And he kind of played an early role in what was creating this community, including they started here in 1806, built their home, and it was around, I think, 1815, 1816 that they started naming the community. And lot holders got together, and David was actually the selection of Richmond. I think that there are values still here that are important, and I think it's just a matter of reflecting on our history. And I think the more that we learn about our history, the more that those values can come out. But I think there's great work going on in the community with people trying to bring out our history, to educate people of what's happening, to get them more involved, so that more people can find that little niche that they relate to. I love Richmond because I think that there is an abundance of things happening. I think there's something for everybody. I think that if you search hard enough, you're going to find your niche in this community, and you're going to love where you live. You're going to get more involved, and I think you'll have a better time here in this community if you actually get out and explore and engage with your community.
Currently, I am the interim executive director of the Wayne County Historical Museum, and that was a historical museum founded by Julia Meek Gar in 1930. And from the history and the notes and just people and family members, she was quite an incredible woman. The key to her in the historical museum is that she traveled around the world 7 times, and she collected various artifacts from India, China, Japan, and especially Egypt. Richmond is home to not one mummy, but 2, and one of them is at the Historical Museum. What makes it a historical museum is that we focus on not only the collections, the worldly collections that Julia Meek Gar brought back, but also Wayne County history. So we have about 8 buildings. Some are storage buildings, some are actually tour buildings that you can see the various exhibitions of artifacts. But it has from a Conestoga wagon to a Davis airplane to the Richmond, which is one of the 14 car manufacturers here in Richmond, to a Pilot, to a Davis, to Julia Meek Gar's personal car. There's an antique car collection, to horse-drawn buggies, steam threshers for the farms, to the artifacts from a local church that has since disbanded. And then we also house the cruiser for a fallen officer that our community lost, Officer Sierra Burton. I'm very proud of the museum staff members because last year in June they partnered with the Black Legacy Project of Wayne County, and they put together their signature exhibit highlighting different, Black members of Wayne County that were firefighters, policemen, various first responders. They were average citizens, but they've been missing from part of Wayne County history. So we were very fortunate to collaborate with them to bring their stories to life. So now we can see more people in our community actually see people like them, on display in the things that they did. Also, it's the community outreach. We have a summer camp in the summer for, I think it's 8 to 13-year-olds that come in, and they talk about from archaeology and the anthropology of people to bringing those artifacts together and what it takes to house those artifacts, to cultivate the artifacts, to put them on display, all the way to creating a full exhibit in a museum. I would like to see the museum be able to expand so we can share more of our artifacts, because there are so many things in their collections that we're not able to share, and to be able to have the staff and the volunteers, because nonprofits rely on their volunteers, especially the smaller nonprofits. I connected with the Richmond Rotary Club. I'm currently serving with the Historic Preservation Commission for the City of Richmond. If you would have asked me in 2015 that I would have those connections in town to our history and the rich tapestry that they weave together, I would have never in a million years. I love how, especially, because I'm involved with the nonprofit communities, is how we've been able to come together. If you don't like how something is working, step up and volunteer or try to get a job with that organization and see how you can help to make a difference and make it better. I feel that even the messy, dirty, ugly history it's still our history. So we try to tell history through exhibits, through tours with schools, through tours with different organizations. We try to be as accurate as we can, even if it is something that people may not want to hear. I love Richmond because of the community engagement. I love the connection I have with the community members, with the nonprofit organizations, and how in a short amount of time they have made me feel welcome.
I'm Aaron Stevens. I'm with the Richmond Police Department, and what I would like to discuss is one of the most important days in the history of Richmond, Indiana. That's April the 6th, 1968. At approximately 1:47 p.m. on that afternoon, there was a gas explosion that was caused by a shot being fired, test fired, at the basement of Marting Arms, and it ignited a gas leak. There was a secondary explosion that occurred after that that was a massive quantity of black powder that exploded. Unfortunately, those two explosions resulted in the loss of over 40 people losing their lives that day. I remember the day, I remember what I was doing and what I was listening to and watching as if it were yesterday. It was a very beautiful Saturday afternoon, and my mother had just left the house to go downtown to a store to get me some shoes for Easter, and that store would have been just a few feet, or actually a few doors away from the center of the explosion. As my grandmother and I were watching TV, I remember a commercial from Dayton, Ohio, Bob Tatoon Buick in Fairborn, Ohio, followed up by a Coke jingle that says, "Coke has the taste you never get tired of," and then the entire house shook. And, you know, we were really unaware what was going on, and my grandmother and I, we were getting up to go outside, and that's when the second explosion occurred. And we walked outside, and living almost 2 miles away, we were able to see in the distance a huge pillar, the billowing smoke. We could even see flames, and it was so devastating. And as we stood there for a couple minutes after that, we were immediately pelted by debris that was falling from the sky that was blown all that way. It changed the face of Richmond as we knew it for so many different reasons. 1968 was a very tragic year when you consider the Vietnam War in January of that year had come to a new height with the Tet Offensive. 2 days before April 6, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. There were race riots going on throughout the United States, and a lot of people initially, after the explosion or during the time of the explosion, until the facts came out, were wondering, was this a result of racial unrest due to the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King? At 7 years old, you weren't worried about that. Me specifically, I was worried the fact that when we were finding out what was going on, my mother had gone downtown and was possibly involved in it. So while we were out watching it, not long after that, the helicopters from Channel 7 News out of Dayton, Ohio, flew over. A man named Bill Warman, who became a friend of mine, who unfortunately has passed away a number of years ago, took a lot of video footage from the camera showing the devastation. It was then that you realized that this was a catastrophic event that occurred downtown Richmond, had nothing to do with race riots or anything else, but it also was resulting in a lot of mass casualty and death, unfortunately. There was the rotary dial telephone, there was the operator, will you help me place this call? And when all of a sudden after the explosion, the phone lines were immediately inundated with calls and it was overwhelmed. When my mother left the house, instead of going directly downtown, she first went to one of my aunt's house here on the south side of town, and two of her sisters from out of town were there. The four of them stood around and they laughed for a while, and then they walked outside to get in the car to go downtown, and that's when the explosions occurred. It was several hours before my mother was able to get back home. When she walked through the door, I remember vividly, it was as if there was a huge glow and a halo and angels' wings behind her, because when she stood in the doorway, it was as if I was looking at the angel that was my mother, and I hugged her. And I don't know if I've ever hugged anyone before or since then so tightly. After the explosion of April 6, 1968, there was a total recovery and rebirth of the city of Richmond, beginning with the downtown. The center of Richmond, Main Street, Richmond, had been the bustle and the heartbeat of the community. That changed that. However, more importantly, a community came together, because up until then, even the fire department was still somewhat segregated, because most of your firefighters of color were housed out of one particular firehouse and not some of the other mainstream. But on that date, you see people of color, white men and black men, and coming together, holding hoses, pulling people out of buildings, who unfortunately were injured or were deceased at that time. Nobody saw color, nobody saw sex, nobody saw religion or politics. That in spite of differences, we had one thing in common, and that is save downtown, save people, come together, and it worked out well, and it has worked out well since April 6, 1968. I love Richmond because I'm a part of Richmond. Richmond is a part of me. This community has helped me to become the person I am, and has caused me to dedicate my life in serving it.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the latest episode of Ball State PBS's Now Entering series as we visit Richmond, Indiana. Hi, I'm Nathan Hart with my co-host for the evening, Amy Leffingwell, and we are so happy that you are here with us this evening.
Yes, we are. It's going to be a great night. The Now Entering series is it's a documentary project where your friends and neighbors became filmmakers to tell the story of your town, capturing what makes Richmond very special. We met some incredible people and heard some wonderful stories while taping the storyteller interviews that you are seeing tonight.
We know that you're loving this program, and there is more to come. If you know someone from Richmond who's moved away, let them know they can go to ballstatepbs.org and watch the live stream right now. You can also watch us on the Ball State PBS Facebook page. And don't forget, you can leave us a message using hashtag #NERichmond.
Ball State PBS is all about connecting with local communities and bringing you the best in programming. Arts, history, science, and news, as well as providing community engagement and educational experiences. Why not take this opportunity to become a member tonight and support Now Entering Richmond and all of the exceptional programming that sets Ball State PBS apart? Call 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
We would love to thank you on the air tonight. If you're not a member of Ball State PBS yet, now is the time to pick up the phone and give us a call at 1-800-252-9472. Or go to ballstatepbs.org and show your commitment to excellent public television that only Ball State PBS can bring you.
Now, let's get back to Now Entering Richmond.
I'm Sue King, and I am on the board of the Reed Center here in town. Daniel Reed is a very important person, not only in Richmond's history, but on a national level too. He was born on the west side of Richmond and was a hard worker. He got himself a job at the very new Second National Bank when he was about 15 years old. Ultimately, he was one of the vice presidents of the Second National Bank. In 1890, Congress wanted to create a domestic tin plate industry, and Daniel Reed got in on the ground floor of that. Reed and his associates gathered several hundred smaller tin plate plants into the American Tin Plate Company. The tin plate company was one of the ones that was folded into U.S. Steel in 1901. So all of a sudden, Reed was pretty wealthy, but now he's got that U.S. Steel money and he's crazy wealthy. He built a house on Fifth Avenue in New York City. He was living the high life. The thing is, though, he always considered Richmond to be his home. And he made it clear to the city fathers that if they needed anything, they should let him know. So right when he got that U.S. Steel money is when we first started seeing correspondence back here to Richmond that he wanted to build a church for the congregation that he grew up in. And his initial thought was to take the old church and donate it to St. Stephen's Hospital. And then the city fathers went to him and said, you know, we really have a need for a bigger hospital. I don't think that one building's going to help. He said, okay, well, I'll build a hospital too. And so Reed Memorial Hospital, at least the first building of Reed Memorial Hospital, and Reed Memorial Presbyterian Church, they were both under construction at the same time. In fact, the cornerstone laying ceremonies for both buildings was held in the same day in September of 1904. The Reed Church was his gift. Everything from the lot down to the china, he paid for all of it, and he spared no expense. The biggest thing about the Reed Church is the fact that every single window above the basement is a Tiffany window, which is just crazy. But again, he was going top shelf on everything, and at that point, Tiffany Art Glass was the premier art glass company in the country. So originally, there was one memorial window, the one that faces south, that depicts Christ and the four apostles, and that's the one that actually says it's dedicated to his parents. So the church is actually dedicated to his parents. There is another picture window in what we call the Great Room, which was originally the Sunday school room, and that one depicts Christ in the temple. So the teenage Christ when he left his parents and they couldn't find him and they found him in the temple. So you don't often see a teenage Christ depicted in stained glass, but that's what we have at the Reed Center. There is a third memorial window that faces north, but that one wasn't there in 1906. It's an original design and it depicts Easter morning. And it was dedicated on Easter morning of 1909. It was a very large congregation, very active, but you know, as is the case with a lot of the mainline Protestant churches, the congregation has dwindled. The congregation folded in November of 2017, and very soon thereafter, we didn't want to see anything happen to the building. And so a group of citizens formed a steering committee, I guess, and there's a board now too. So we are now, we are the Reed Center, that is our nonprofit title, and technically the building is still owned by the presbytery, but we are the ones who are taking care of it and getting people in the door. All of the activities that we have are to get people in the door, to see what a just crazy, wonderful gem this is, not only for Richmond, but for the whole country. So we host many, many concerts. The thing, you know, it's got nearly perfect acoustics. It's like a theater seating sort of thing. So it's designed to be a performance venue. We have organ concerts and we have a star piano concert. So we've had dulcimer groups. We've had a gospel group that came over from Dayton. We've had Jeff Hamilton, who is a Richmond High School graduate, who is a internationally known jazz drummer. We've had a Celtic concert last March for St. Patrick's Day. We always have a pretty nice Christmas concert. And so we try to have a huge variety so that we can get a lot of people who've never been inside that building to see how beautiful it is inside. We want to have as many people in the building as we can, and what that means a lot of time is to partner with other groups. So we have partnered with the museum, with the symphony, with Amigos, with just as many people as we can. Again, we just want to get as many people in the building and to realize how great this facility is.
Hi, my name is Chris Chappell, and I'm here to talk about the history of the Richmond Fire Department. Prior to 1830, there really was no organized fire protection in Richmond. It was just kind of a free-for-all, fend for yourself, if you will. In 1830, the powers that be and the citizens got together and they organized some sort of fundraiser in order to get their first fire engine, which in essence was a water tank on wheels. Several people would grab it and they would take it to wherever the scene of the fire was, and then that tank was filled with bucket brigades. So the first paid department was founded in 1872. So between 1830 and 1872, there was 4 volunteer companies organized in town. Those 4 companies were brought under one umbrella and were basically established as the first paid fire department in Richmond. So the Lindley Hall fire happened on the campus of Durham College in October of 1924. In the building at the time, I think it was an admissions building and there were some classrooms, but one of the unique things, there was also a museum there, a natural history museum by the name of the Joseph Moore. And it actually still exists today. When the fire broke out, all the companies in town were there and they were trying to put the fire out and all this stuff. It was becoming out of control quickly. The administration of the college went to Fire Chief Miller at the time and just asked them, please protect the Joseph Moore. We have all these irreplaceable natural history items in there and all these things. So they did that. They reorganized their fight to protect the Joseph Moore. Well, it was growing out of control. So students actually kind of started breaking the fire lines because they wanted to get into their school and save some of their museum stuff. In the interest of safety, the firemen obviously tried to keep them out, and that didn't go very well. They were quickly overwhelmed, and the students rushed in and they started pulling items out, so the firemen joined them. They were able to rescue some fossils that are still on display today at the Joseph Moore. They were able to save a mummy that was over there, and just numerous other items that you would find, but many of them were involved in that fire. Unfortunately, in that effort, we also experienced one of our 6 line of duty deaths. A fireman by the name of Bill Kenny was killed when a wall collapsed on him and somebody else. We have 5 fire stations. They house 5 engines. We're staffed 24 hours a day. 1 truck company, 3 ambulances, and a battalion chief's vehicle. We have 3 standby pumpers. We have 1 standby truck. We have several support vehicles for some of our special teams, which include hazmat response, confined space, rope rescue. With that, we also have some other programs that are offered, such as the Honor Guard program. We have a high school program for local students that's offered through the Richmond Area Career Center that allows them their junior year to become firefighters and their senior year to become EMTs. You will be taught Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2, as well as hazmat awareness and hazmat operations, which will give you the minimum standards to be able to walk into any paid or volunteer department in the state of Indiana. You can do that as soon as you're done with your junior year of high school. And in your senior year, if you want to continue it, you can go to an EMT basic program. So these kids come out and they really know their stuff. They're really good. And what an EMT basic thing is, that'll allow them to work at any 911 transport service. And these kids just they're really given a leg up if they decide they want a job in emergency services. The Mobile Integrated Health, it's staffed with 3 social workers right now. They focus in on falls, mental health, and drug addiction. What Mobile Integrated Health does is they're able to focus more long-term on these people that maybe need some secondary care, or maybe they need some resources. That is something that is outside of the realm of the normal fire department. We just don't have the manpower or the time to be able to focus on a lot of those things. Since I was very young, my grandfather was a volunteer fireman in a neighboring town. And I was always, just as a little kid, I was always kind of at the firehouse and always around fire engines and firemen and that kind of stuff. And as I grew older, it just clicked, just made sense for me. When I was an early teenager, I kind of started hanging around the firehouses and learning, and they haven't been able to get rid of me since. I was hired on at Richmond when I was 21. I've been on Richmond for a little bit more than 22 years now. I just love the job. I absolutely love the job. I can't imagine there's another job with more variety in existence. Not all of it is good, obviously, but the good times certainly outweigh the bad ones. There's no doubt about it. Anybody that's ever done the job always has a love for it, even if they've left it for other reasons.
I am the president of the board of Townsend Community Center Incorporated, and I am also the executive director of Townsend Community Center Incorporated. The center is the oldest community center organization in all of Wayne County. We were 103 years old in February of this year. I didn't choose to be the president of the Board of Townsend. I didn't choose it. I didn't choose to be the executive director. It chose me. I'm passionate about the center because I know what it does for the people that come through there. We don't try to change anybody. We just try to help them to become the best version of themselves. We're non-judgmental. We allow people to be who they are. Not only do we service the children, but we service the entire family if it's necessary. We have an after-school program. We have K through 12, and we provide homework assistance and tutoring. And those hours that the kids are out of school, between the time the kids are out of school and parents get home, those hours can be risky because then the kids will not have any adult supervision. At Townsend, they are supervised. We have programming for women. It's a women's empowerment program. It's called WOW, Women of Worth. We have another program. It's called CHOICE. It's an acronym for chance, hope, opportunity, independence, courage, and excellence. We try to help those who are looking to become gainfully employed. And if they're having some issues, sometimes you have some issues along the way. And we try to help them to eliminate the barriers that they have to that, even to education. We just try to help the community as a whole. The center was birthed out of necessity back in 1921 by some forward-thinking men and women, black and white, based on Christian principles that everybody should be entitled to the same thing. Back in 1921, black folk, white folk, poor white folk, immigrant folk were not allowed to participate in mainstream nothing. Not education, not recreation, not finances, not housing. These forward-thinking individuals, they all got together and birthed this idea of inclusivity. Everybody be included in everything. Everybody be on the same level playing field. That's how Townsend Community Center Incorporated was birthed. The center has such a rich history. And not only that, we have many programs that we help our community. We give a lot, and we expect a lot back from the people that we serve. When I say we expect a lot back, I'm gonna clarify that, is that we expect them to do what they need to do to become the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. I'm a product of Townsend Community Center Incorporated. 99% of our board we're products of Townsend Community Center Incorporated, and we're proud of that. Our children in after-school program since 2017, 98% of them have made the honor roll, and 100% of them have shown improvement, and we're very proud of that fact. At Townsend Community Center, we're in the trenches with the individuals. We're committed to the vision to help people. We love what we do, and we hope that people will see the value and the relevancy of Townsend Community Center Incorporated and the services that we provide. I love Richmond because I grew up here. I'm vested in my community. I'm vested in my church. I'm vested in my family. I have a lot of family here.
My name is Kelly Cruz Nicholson. My father was one of the first black firefighters here in the city, and my mother actually started a group called the League of Women Voters, where she and her friend Mary Jo Clark would go around town and they would register women to vote. I come from a background where my family instilled in us that we were going to be movers and shakers. She just couldn't leave us at home all the time, so we were tagging around with her. And like I said, my mom was an activist. She did a lot of civil rights marches She was a pusher too. She was someone who pushed through her fear, pushed through difficult moments, to make sure everything was okay. What she taught us is that you treat people the way that you want to be treated. And I look at everybody as having potential. I don't care who you are. In our community, we have so many people that have potential. I currently sit on the Housing Authority Board of Directors, and I also sit on the Board of Zoning and Appeals for the city. I was an elected official for 14 years. I sat on Richmond City Council as the counselor for District 2. That was exciting, to be able to make decisions or to be involved in making decisions that helped your city grow. That was absolutely amazing. I think as a community engagement type person, I like to be out there. I like to talk to people. I like to make connections with people, and that's a lot of fun. And along with that, I also have my own radio show, which was pretty amazing all in itself and allowed me to connect with a lot more people. What I would like to see more of is collaboration. We have a lot of people that have great ideas. We have a lot of people that have amazing skills. There's a lot of potential out there that is untapped right now. I would like to see a lot of collaboration in our city to move us forward. And we have the Walk of Fame here. We have the Jack Astor Plaza, which is amazing. If you come down on a Wednesday, you can probably catch any given food truck down there and have a great lunch. I'm currently the executive chair for the events this year that will be happening during the year. Of course, we're going to do a walk to end Alzheimer's. We're going to do, of course, the longest day, things like that. That are going to be happening. My heart just bloomed today because I saw my niece and I was talking to her and she lives in Chicago and she said, I'm going to be working with the Alzheimer's Association in Chicago. They're going to follow in your footsteps, right? So I thought that was pretty amazing. My mother and my father, as I mentioned, my father was one of the first black firemen here in Richmond. My mother was an activist herself. And the one thing I will never forget that my mother always told us was that she said, when you feel uncomfortable, push through it. When I'm afraid, I'm not going to say that things don't scare me and I don't have anxiety or, any of that. I do, but I can either let it overwhelm me, like my mother said, or you can push through it. My mom was like, you will do this. And I believe that. And I try to instill that in the kiddos that are around me now, You have potential to be anything you want to be. You just have to imagine it. And when you're afraid, you have to push through it. I love Richmond because, well, one, it's my community. I've been here my entire life. And this is a community that has allowed me to blossom and grow. I am someone who would put myself in uncomfortable situations. I have a lot of opinions and I would speak out about them. And my community embraced me.
Where will Now Entering travel next? If you would like to see your town featured on an upcoming episode of our Now Entering series, please visit ballstatepbs.org/nowentering for more information.
Wow, that was an interesting segment. Admittedly, I love all of our cities. I'm learning so much about Richmond that I never even knew about. So This is very educational for me personally. What do you think?
Yeah, fascinating historical clips there.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Hart, and I'm here with Amy Leffingwell. We're taking a quick break from the program. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for Now Entering Richmond, the newest episode in our Now Entering series. We want to remind you that besides watching us on TV, we're also streaming on ballstatepbs.org and on Facebook. Feel free to drop a comment with the hashtag NERichmond, and a big thanks to all of you who've called in with your support. Let's take a moment to read some names and comments.
Yeah, we're getting some traffic online. We appreciate the comments. I have one from Mike Hauser. He says he misses living in Indiana.
Oh, that's nice.
That's so sweet.
And one from Dorothy Robin. Thank you for reaching out to us.
And a huge thanks to our amazing community sponsors: Richmond Art Museum, Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, Wayne County Foundation, Wayne County Historical Museum, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, Black Dog Printing, Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and Depot District Association.
And we want to thank our presenting sponsor, B&F Plastics. We also want to thank our premium presenting sponsors, Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, Belden, and Bethany Theological Seminary.
Bethany Seminary in Richmond, Indiana makes educational opportunities accessible to all qualified students with in-person and online courses. Bethany provides students with the opportunity to earn a graduate degree without taking on debt.
First setting up shop in Richmond in 1927, Belden's long history as a leader in insulated wire and cable has evolved into the company being a leading global supplier of network infrastructure and digitization solutions. Belden is proud to be a part of the rich history and vibrant community of Richmond.
The phones behind me have been buzzing with activity, with viewers like you calling in to support the unique programming you can only find here on Ball State PBS. Give us a call now at 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
The Now Entering series gives us a chance to explore and learn about what makes each of your hometowns unique. East Central Indiana is a region rich in history and vibrant communities. Ball State PBS is proud to serve our audience by providing local programming like Now Entering, along with your PBS favorites. Some of the storytellers from Richmond are on the phone bank right now and are eager to hear from you. One of our storytellers is waiting to talk with Dr. Phil Hoffman about the experience of making Now Entering Richmond. Let's hear it from them. Phil?
Thank you, Amy. We appreciate you all tuning in tonight, and thank you so much for your calls and emails. Call now, become a member of Ball State PBS, 800-252-9472. If you appreciate the fact that programs like this exist, they only exist because people like you have made that call in the past. Join us online too. You can always become a member online at ballstatepbs.org. And joining us now is Sue King. She may look familiar to you. Welcome, Sue.
All right, thanks for having me.
She's an archivist with the Morrison Reeves Library,
That's
and
right.
we're so grateful for you being here today. When you first heard about this program and somebody said, hey, they're going to do this thing and they're going to interview people and tell local stories, I mean, that's kind of your jam, right?
It is, yeah.
So what was your initial thought when you heard about it?
Well, I didn't actually hear about it originally. I was directed by Ray Onco, who is the head of the steering committee for the Reed Center. And so he's the one who turned me on to it. And then once I got in touch with Sarah, then she asked me also to do the library. So I'm actually in 2 segments tonight. So
she's multi-talented.
That's right.
She's kind of like a big star. It's a big deal.
Right.
So as you start thinking about telling local stories, that's something we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
It's a thing you do all
That
the
is
time
what
in
I
your
do,
job.
yes.
When people come to you at the library and they want to know something about, what are the most common questions that people come to you with in terms of local history?
actually, a lot, Richmond's got a huge history in architecture, and I know we've worked with the Ball State. I know they've got a preservation program up here, and we get a lot of questions with people who have just bought an old historic house and they want to learn the history of that house. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not so easy, but that's one of the bigger questions that we get at the reference department.
Yeah, I imagine people are probably curious about who owned it and if it was a rich person and is there money in the walls, right?
Right.
Those kind of questions.
Back in the heyday, there was a lot of money in Richmond.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Well, so in your role in doing this work and preserving these local stories and sharing these local stories, obviously for you as a person, that's got to be an interest, right?
Absolutely.
So what's it like when you get a question and somebody has like a tough one to solve? I imagine for you as an archivist, you kind of like that challenge,
that's
right?
That's right. I dive in and try to get as much information as I can and package it for the person however they need it. But yeah, sometimes the easy questions are fun because you can get a nice, quick answer to them. But some of the ones where you have to really work and do some different avenues to find the information, those are fun too.
Now, I imagine things have changed too, probably when you started. internet and Google and all those things were less used.
Right.
And so now people can kind of search a lot of this, and there's so much stuff online. What's the downfall of doing that on your own, right, as a person, just looking things up on Google or whatever?
Well, because you don't know which, sorry, you don't know the best sources. Some sources are not great, and that's something that we're trained to do as librarians is to find the best sources. And that's basically kind of what we do.
So what do you think, as a person that has spent a lot of your life in Richmond, what do you think a program like this does for the town? Like, could you see yourself, for example, adding the recording to the archives?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, most definitely.
What kind of things does this mean to a town?
Well, I think it's always good to have a different view. So, people who are watching at home can see all of these places that we're talking about through a different lens, and it'll help them understand their hometown a little bit better. And it's always fun to see your hometown and the streets that you drive on all the time on TV. So that's always fun.
Well, Sue, thank you for joining us. We're
Thanks
going
for
to go
having me.
back now. Please call us 800-252-9472.
Thank you. The phones are starting to ring. They're ringing off the hook. We appreciate that. I do want to thank our Richmond's very own mayor, Ron Oler. I'm sure he would love to talk to you, so join him and give him a call. He's ready for you. So, yeah.
On Ball State PBS, you discover programs that cover a vast array of news and information, arts and culture, drama, and local programs like this one, where we're learning all about our neighbors in Richmond. It's something Ball State PBS provides every day, and experiences from your community and from around the world. Member support like yours is crucial as we plan more local programs, outreach, and initiatives. By calling right now and making your financial contribution, you ensure that we will continue to bring you this kind of quality programming. Join us online at ballstatepbs.org or call 1-800-252-9472.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
Everyone can benefit from access to educational experiences and trusted stories from diverse perspectives. When you make your donation online or over the phone, you're ensuring that everyone has access to the programs and resources here on Ball State PBS. If you're already a member, thank you for making all of these experiences available for everyone in our community. If not, this would be a great time. Please make your contribution today at 1-800-252-9472 or ballstatepbs.org.
Remember, we are also streaming live, so if you have friends or family that don't live in our viewing area, they can watch us online at ballstatepbs.org or on our Facebook page. We'd love for you to make a comment and share your memories or stories of Richmond, or to just say hi at #NERichmond. Now, let's get back to the show.
I work at Hayes Arboretum, and my title is Executive Director. Arboretum offers all kinds of activities, anything that connects people to nature. We have 460 acres, and there's outdoor experiences, there's indoor experiences, we have a nature center, we have school groups, we have lots of visitors throughout the year. We're open year-round, and most of the property is accessible dawn to dusk, 7 days a week. We serve Richmond, Wayne County, and the Whitewater River Valley. It's about 100 schools in a 25-mile radius. So a lot of school groups come out in the fall for field trips. We look for state standards, meeting the state standards, for elementary, middle schools, high schools, for Indiana and Ohio. What's one of the great things about the Arboretum is that we have roughly 3% of the state's virgin forest. So people can come out and experience forest like it was a couple hundred years ago. We work a lot with the resources that are out there in terms of classified forest resources such as the DNR, Department of Natural Resources. The chestnut blight, that was devastating. It was devastating for much of the East Coast. And we lost our American chestnut tree, and so we have to be conscious of kind of what's on the horizon in terms of things that might affect plant health. The value's incredible. We live in a society where I think we get further and further away from the natural world. It's really special to offer people the opportunity to connect with nature and see all the value it brings to us, but also generationally. I grew up coming to the summer classes out at the Arboretum, and now I have a young daughter that's participating in Arboretum programs, and so I kind of think of it as some of the rules when people go hiking and they say, take only pictures, leave only footprints, or leave things better than the way you found them. And I feel like that's just a great philosophy for the way we experience the natural world. So I definitely think it's something that when people visit the Arboretum, and people can hopefully come out, they see something that they really like, and then in terms of being an environmental steward, they can then bring that home with them or bring that to the next generation. I'd like people to know that we're constantly evolving and we're constantly trying to meet the growing needs of the community we serve, and we're always open to new ideas. Sometimes we're not able to put ideas into action right away, but a lot of times we're able to find partnerships that can do things that may be tough for us in one resource or another. So working together has been something that has worked out really well for the Arboretum, and the future ahead is really bright.
Hi, I'm Denise Retz, and I'm here to talk about Richmond Parks. Our first park was actually South 10th Street Park. About 5 years later, Glenn Miller Park came into play, and it's today still our flagship park of the city, I would say. It's 194 acres, and it's home to our Richmond Rose Garden. And you can go down and see the Madonna of the Trail. The Daughters of the American Revolution do an amazing job keeping that up to par. So lots of great, rich history, and Glenn Miller that is fun for everyone. It's also one of our largest playgrounds. People used to swim there. People would do clay pigeon shooting there. It's really a neat park where it has a ton of ecological opportunities there to learn about our environment, and great playground, and one of our largest pavilions that you can rent as well. I think back in the day, people would get dressed up and they would drive to Glenn Miller and they would spend the day. They would row around in the pond, and they would spend the day and sometimes drive around as well in that park. The Whitewater Gorge Park is, I think, one of our most interesting parks. It's right in the heart of downtown, and so it's very different when you think about a park of this magnitude. It's 146 acres, has a lot of bedrock, and it goes down the public waterway. But we have the Star Jeanette building that still stands. It's more of an open shelter that people can utilize for weddings or family reunions, and we also have our winter market there. Richmond Parks and Recreation has 19 parks. We have about 22 properties that we maintain. We have 1,100 acres here, and we call ourselves Park Rich. We have 6 playgrounds that are fully compliant, so children and families can feel safe when they come to our playgrounds. We have tons of shelters and that you can rent or you can come for serve to have a picnic in. We also have enclosed shelters that you can rent for families for any kind of special gathering. We have neighborhood parks that are in walking distance from neighborhoods, and we really pride ourselves on that. We also are very excited that we have an opportunity to have a golf course. We have an 18-hole golf course, and then we have a senior recreation center. If you're 50 and over, there is a ton of things for that age group from 7:30 to 4 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. And, that is one thing that I think that a lot of people don't have in their communities is enough to do for every age group. We also have a farmer's market that's open year-round. We have one in the summer and one in the winter, and it's open every Saturday, 9 to 12. We're so excited to be able to have the things that we have now, but we are equally excited to have the things that are coming. In the next 2 to 3 years, the gorge is going to look a ton different. We're expanding the Test Road Trailhead through a grant we received from the DNR, and we also have other funding that's coming in. We're gonna have zip lines coming through. We're gonna have a boat launch on both sides of the gorge, so you'll be able to put in your kayak or your canoe, and then you'll be able to take it out at the other end. And these are things that will be so exciting that we want people to come visit. And just keep checking us out, keep seeing our progress, and come visit Richmond and experience it for yourself. I love Richmond because of our parks, of course, but also because of our generous donors and our generous community who continue to support our parks.
Hi, I'm Tracy Robinson, and I am with the Depot District Association.
I'm Maria Haber, and I'm Vice President of the association. The association was named after the historic Depot District, or the historic Depot building, and we've formulated a business association where all of the members that own and operate businesses in the Depot neighborhood come together once a month, and we talk about our festivals and plan different events and things to keep up the neighborhood and collaborate together. The mission of the association is to support the business owners, to collaborate with other businesses, to do things together. I own an art business, and we've worked with different businesses within the district with like Alre's Ice Cream or the ice cream shop, and we'll have kids come in and paint an ice cream bowl, and they get a scoop of ice cream as well. So working together to support each other, collaborate with each other, and just to, like you said, plan the festivals and things like that. And we even have cleanup days to keep things looking good. Each business feeds off of each other. There's a comic book store next to me, as well as the record store. And on Saturdays especially, or in the summer times, it's great just to see people walking around, going in and out of the different businesses, and just kind of relaxing and taking a stroll around the neighborhood.
This will be our 3rd year of Dogs Night Out, which is, it falls on right around National Dog Day. So we've had a lot of fun partnering with Blue Buffalo, who is a pet, they make pet food here in town, and so we have a lot of fun. We have a costume contest, and vendors come that are pet related. At Maria's Art Studio, they do paw prints and paint other things, and dog bowls and things like that. So we are making that an annual event that we do.
Trick-or-treating is a big event for us. We've had about 1,500 kids come down. The businesses just open their doors and hand out candy. The association tries to support that with a little bit of candy, but the businesses just donate candy, and the kids come down in full costume, and it's a big night for us.
Oktoberfest has been going on for quite a few years. We used to own that as the Depot Association, but one of the coffee shops, Roscoe's, has kind of taken that over now, and it is a typical Oktoberfest, as you can imagine. It's bands and beer, basically, and some vendors set up throughout the day, so it draws a lot of people. We feel strongly about supporting the nonprofits. As anywhere, they struggle with being able to keep the doors open and have fun. So we do what we can to support them, and they're good at reciprocating back to us. So we enjoy doing that and support them through several different ways throughout the year at our festivities.
One program we have that supports the nonprofits is the Festival of Trees. Tracy's been on that for a long time. And different nonprofit organizations decorate a tree, and then we have a live auction, and we auction off the trees, and the nonprofit gets all of that money.
One of our trees sold last year for over $10,000.
Yes. We're excited about the loop. There's a loop, a walking bike path that goes down 7th Street and 10th Street, and we are the connection to 7th and 10th. And when it comes, they're starting construction on that this summer. So we're going to get new sidewalks, new landscaping. It will be a connection through the Depot District all the way through the neighborhood to our main street. So you'll be able to bike, walk all the way around the city. I love Richmond because of all the hidden gems. We have the Model T Museum, we have art, we have all these cute little coffee shops and restaurants, and they're all very personally, they're owned by individuals, and they're all very personal, and it's that kind of city, big city, small town vibe when you walk in and they already know what your coffee order is. That makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you belong.
I love Richmond because of the collaboration that we have with nonprofits, with the local business owners. We can pull off most any event or withstand anything that might be thrown at us that becomes a hurdle or an objection, and we work together to, it all works out in the end.
My name is Sean Dingworth. I am the Executive Director of the Richmond Art Museum. The Richmond Art Museum is the second oldest art museum in the state of Indiana. We were founded in 1898, and this happens to be our 125th anniversary. One of the things that's extremely unique about the Richmond Art Museum is, to our knowledge, we are the only public art museum in the United States that's housed within an active public high school. So we have direct access to students. We plan exhibitions around students and their interest, and we currently serve about 4,000 students annually. The entire building is called McGuire Hall, but this is the auditorium, and just recently we installed 4 mural panels. This building was dedicated on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1941. So when they dedicated the building, they actually announced the attack from the stage. And so in honor of this building, what we decided to do was to do a WPA-inspired mural that represents Richmond's industrial heritage and our cultural heritage, which is very rich. So the arts have always been an integral part of the school curriculum. Not only was the museum housed here, but this is the birthplace of the first high school orchestra in America. We do a minimum of 7 exhibitions a year. 2 things I'm really proud of is the All Wayne County High School Art Exhibition. I call it the Art Sectionals. It's an opportunity for county artists to have their works exhibited in an art museum. The other thing we do is a high school film festival. Richmond is where the first screening of a large projection of film was ever shown. And so we have the Fantascope High School Film Festival. And so we're very proud of those programs to encourage young students to pursue the arts. And one of the reasons we're located in a high school is because we know if kids are going to be interested in the arts later in life, they need to get exposure to the arts early on. Richmond has this great history. And fortunately, many of those organizations are still in existence today. So not only the Richmond Art Museum, Richmond Civic Theater, we have Richmond Shakespeare Festival, and we also have the Richmond Symphony Orchestra. And that really runs with the fact that this was a very important industrial town, and those industrialists wanted something better for the next generation. So they really invested into culture. The building we're sitting in today, McGuire Hall, was helped funded by Mr. McGuire, who was a lawnmower manufacturer. He actually paid half of the cost of this building in order to have arts offered to students. We are not funded by the school. We are able to be admission free because we are here rent free and utility free, but in exchange many of our programs are free to the public, which I'm very proud of, that we can offer that so that families can come here, enjoy the art. We do lots of special events. We do a summer garden tour. We do an event, one of my favorite events is called Pottery Palooza, where we invite some of the top potters from Indiana and Ohio. They set up on the lawn. We get between 600 and 800 people. That's in September. So I really encourage people to check out our website because we have things going on all the time. And we actually have a very small staff of only 5 people. I love Richmond for many reasons. I am the only person in my family that stayed in Indiana. I think it's because there's so much that is offered here for kids. I think our community does a tremendous job of offering free opportunities to give kids the opportunities to learn about very different things, whether it's the art or it's nature or music. And I think Richmond's architecture is something that is noted as well. We have the Cardinal Greenway, we have the Gorge. There's just so many opportunities and things to do. And for a city of our size to have all of these great organizations and opportunities, I think it makes it a unique place to be.
Welcome back. What a great series of stories from Richmond, Indiana.
Definitely.
So how often do you imagine that a parks department in rural Indiana hears references to the TV show Parks and Rec?
More than they probably want to. Yeah, definitely. Definitely more. Thank you for joining us this evening for Now Entering Richmond. I'm Amy Leffingwell along with Nathan Hart, and we are coming to you from the Ball State PBS studios on the campus of Ball State University. We're having a great time hearing stories from our friends in Richmond, Indiana.
We are here tonight celebrating local stories, your stories, with Now Entering Richmond. This kind of show is unique to public television. It's what sets us apart. No commercial station is going to take a deep dive into your community to share stories of your history from your friends and neighbors. Local stories play an important part of exploring and understanding our world. Ball State PBS is proud to bring this program to life.
Your stories matter, and so does your support. Call 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org. And one of the great Richmond volunteers behind us on our phone bank will take your call. We want to take a minute right now and thank those of you who have called in with your gift to Ball State PBS.
I have a nice story here from Polly. This is such a wonderful show about my hometown. I want to thank the Ball State PBS crew for coming in and making it such a good experience. Thank you, Polly.
Oh, that's great. I'm so grateful my dad, Jason Kindred, took photos for this. He really captured the character and beauty of Richmond. And that's from Marcy on YouTube. And Jason Kindred is a fabulous photographer, for those of you who don't know. So.
All right, keep posting your comments at #NERichmond. We love hearing from you. And if you have friends or family who can't watch the show on TV, we are streaming the show live on ballstatepbs.org and on Facebook. Stories like these can only be told by your local PBS station, Ball State PBS. Help support the station that brings you such powerful local storytelling by making a contribution right now. We make it easy for you. You choose the amount you choose, if you'd like a thank you gift, and you choose how you'd like to pay. Don't put off making that call. Now is the time to show your love for your hometown of Richmond and your local PBS station. Your financial support really does make a difference. 1-800-252-9472 or ballstatepbs.org.
That's right. So keep those phones ringing and let us know how you value Ball State PBS. Call 1-800-252-9472 right now or go online ballstatepbs.org.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
And with your contribution, you can take, oh, there's a phone call now. All right. You can take advantage of a special member benefit called PBS Passport. Passport brings you thousands of hours of great PBS and local programs whenever you want on the PBS app. It's just another one of the great benefits of supporting Ball State PBS.
How long have you been watching Ball State PBS? Maybe you started out as a kid, or with your kids watching Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, or Wild Kratts. Or maybe you discovered the great dramas on Masterpiece, or the in-depth news on PBS NewsHour. Maybe you learned how to cook with Julia Child, or maybe you learned something new about your world on Nature or Nova. Hopefully tonight you learned a little more about your neighbors in Richmond, Indiana. Whether you've been watching all your life or you're new to Ball State PBS, you know that these programs are worth watching. Become a member today. Call now 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
Supporting Ball State PBS is a community investment that produces rich cultural and educational rewards. Your generous support allows us to create and distribute the very best in television and online content that educates and engages. Whether you're a passionate fan who wants to support your favorite program, a parent who gives because you trust us to provide quality, kid-friendly programs, or a viewer who contributes so everyone can enjoy arts and culture, you are helping Ball State PBS serve all of East Central Indiana. Every contribution keeps public media independent, creative, and strong. Call 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
Ball State PBS promotes a love of learning and stories that matter. The Now Entering series allows us to go into the communities we serve to find those unique stories and bring them to you, told through the voices of the people who live there. It provides a special opportunity for community volunteers to share their town's unique history, organizations, culture, schools, attractions, local folklore, and more. If you are enjoying this great local program, let us know by making that call of support, 1-800-252-9472, or go online at ballstatepbs.org. These enthusiastic volunteers behind me are waiting to hear from you.
We want you to take a moment to thank some of you that have called in. So, Nathan, you want to start?
Yes, we have here our very own Sue King, who is right behind us here. By all means, join her by calling in.
From Richmond, Karen from Richmond, she simply says thank you. And we do too. We appreciate your donations and all that you help us do here at PBS.
Thanks to the support of Ball State PBS members just like you, we can continue to bring these local stories to our audience. Make that call now, 1-800-252-9572, or go online at ballstatepbs.org. And we want to take a moment again to thank our generous community sponsors: Richmond Art Museum, Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, Wayne County Foundation, Wayne County Historical Museum, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, Black Dog Printing Richmond, Symphony Orchestra, and Depot District Association.
We want to thank our presenting sponsor, B&F Plastics. We also want to thank our premium presenting sponsors, Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, Belden and Bethany Theological Seminary.
Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, committed to investing in the people, places, and events throughout Richmond and Wayne County. Learn more at threeriversfcu.org. Three Rivers is proud to support programs on Ball State PBS.
Thanks again to all of those sponsors. Everyone has a story to tell, and we heard some great ones in that last segment. Thanks for joining us for Now Entering Richmond tonight on Ball State PBS. I'm Nathan Hart, along with Amy Leffingwell, and we're so happy you're here with us to celebrate stories from Richmond, Indiana.
Thanks to the people and town of Richmond for participating in this series. We've enjoyed such a variety of stories this evening, and you can enjoy the stories anytime with your own copy of tonight's program. This special thank you gift is our way of celebrating your support of Now Entering Richmond. All you have to do is call in and talk to one of the volunteers at 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org. Now, thanks to all of you who have called in for sharing, supporting, and being part of the viewing experiences that you'll only find on Ball State PBS.
The mission of Ball State PBS is powered by our common spirit, the spirit of public service and community enrichment. Ball State PBS is here for all ages and backgrounds, from the tiny tots to grandparents and everyone in between. If it's quality television with impact, you know you will find it on Ball State PBS. Need your support to keep this programming on Ball State PBS. Programs that you can't find anywhere else, like the Now Entering series. Ball State PBS is proud to be your station for local stories. So call now, 1-800-252-9472, or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
Part fundraiser, part community builder, part historical and cultural documentary, and part day in the life video, scrapbook, Now Entering, shares the local legends, historical happenings, and backyard secrets of our towns. Ball State PBS believes in serving our communities, and we do this through engagement activities like our Ready to Learn camps. Be My Neighbor Day, Happy Little Fest, and through local programming. You can support this work by becoming a member now.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
And don't forget, with your qualifying donation, you will have access to PBS Passport, an on-demand library of PBS programs that you can watch when you want, and it's available only to members. It's a one-of-a-kind benefit that comes with supporting Ball State PBS. So don't wait. Call 1-800-252-9472 or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
An easy way to support Ball State PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. As a sustaining member, you never have to worry about renewing your support. You sign up to have your contribution automatically deducted from your bank account or credit card, and then it's all set. It only takes a few minutes. Call now, 1-800-252-9472, or go online at ballstatepbs.org to let us know you support the shows only Ball State PBS can bring you, like Now Entering.
One of the best parts about producing programs like Now Entering is getting to meet our neighbors. And I believe Phil is ready to talk with one of them now. Phil?
Thank you, Nathan. Give us a call right now, 800-252-9472. Become a member of Ball State PBS. This is your last opportunity during this program to do that. Of course, we've got those great thank you gifts that you've been seeing earlier, so call now, 800-252-9472, or visit us online at ballstatepbs.org. www.nteringricmond.org. Now, again, somebody's joining us now that you may recognize from earlier, Tina Conti, who is the interim executive director at the Wayne County Historical Museum. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, in addition to the museum, you also mentioned to me, we were talking a little bit earlier about you bought an old house.
Yeah, it's a little old and a little infamous in town. When we decided to buy it, we received a phone call from the local paper at the time, the Palladium Item, asking if we would like to give a statement on why we bought the Jeanette Mansion. And we thought for a moment, what did we do? But it very quickly catapulted us into the community, and I absolutely love it because in the few short years that we've been there, I have created some of the most amazing, connections and friendships throughout the community and through nonprofit work. It's been amazing.
And owning a building like that is your sort of in the grand scheme of time, right? You guys are just part of it for whatever part of it you're part of it. And it's a bigger thing than just you. And one of the things that I've learned, because we had a 100-year-old house at one point in our day, every time you think you need to fix something and it's going to be just one thing, it's never just one thing, is it?
Never. You speak the truth. You speak the truth. That is something, when we purchased it from the previous owners, we had a lot to share about, being the current stewards and then being the previous stewards and how that gets passed along because, you say owner, but we're just the stewards of that history, and there's always something that needs fixed or something that we want to be able to restore. We've been able to do some restoration work on the second floor and open up the bedroom that was once the Jeanette boys' bedroom back to its original footprint. And we host small events on the first floor so we can open it up to the community. So they can see the historic nature, to see the woodwork. And people have my number, they show up at the door, they ring the doorbell, they think it's a museum. I usually just let them in and say, come on in, take a look at it. My husband's like, you need to be careful. But so far we've had really wonderful people, and they just want to peek inside.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and especially if you grew up in town, it's been there your whole life,
yes.
right? So.
First time my husband and I ever stepped inside was the day we decided to take a look at it and ended up putting an offer in.
Well, thank you for joining us, Tina. We appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Take care of that house. All
we're
right?
trying. We're trying.
Right. Give us a call right now, 800-252-9472. Become a member of Ball State PBS. Just a few minutes left to do it. If you want to get your own copy of Now Entering Richmond, now's the moment. 800-252-9472. And now, back to Nathan and Amy.
Thank you, Phil. We'd like to take a minute to mention Stephen Austin, who lives in Muncie. He does have family from Richmond, and he's a really good friend of Ball State Public Media. So we want to thank him for his donation this evening. Ball State PBS has been a part of the community for over 50 years. That's dating me. Do you remember Sesame Street?
Yeah.
A little bit? Okay, yeah. Think back for a moment to all the places you've been and the experiences you've had with Ball State PBS through that time. We've taken you on a deep dive into subjects you want to learn more about with Nova and nature, given you the best seat in the house with masterpiece and great performances, and provided your kids an opportunity to explore new ideas and new friends with programs like Amy of Denali and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Ball State PBS is a trusted community resource that you have come to rely on. Call now to make sure that we can continue to bring you the programs you count on. Again, that number is 1-800-252-9472, or go online at ballstatepbs.org.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
If you haven't made that call, there is still time. Thanks again to all of those sponsors who support this program And thanks to all of you who called in and joined the Ball State PBS family tonight to support those you love. If you are currently a member of Ball State PBS,
Yes, as Nathan said, if you are a current member of Ball State PBS, whether you give every month or every year, thank you. Every contribution you make to this station strengthens our community so that everyone has access to the resources here on Ball State PBS. Your membership allows us to provide programming you trust, programming that informs and entertains, programming that makes a difference in the community.
and thanks again to the wonderful residents of Richmond for sharing your stories. And if you haven't made that call yet tonight to support Ball State PBS and the local programs you can only see here, there is still time. That number is 1-800-252-9472, or go online to Ball State PBS. Don't forget the special thank you gift, your own copy of tonight's program. Make that call now.
Now Entering is a special local program because it's your town, your stories, told by you. We hope you have enjoyed learning more about Richmond, and if you want to see your town on the show, let us know. Watch for our next Now Entering episode featuring Gas City. Thanks for joining us tonight, and thank you for supporting your local PBS station, Ball State PBS.
When you call with a gift of just $5 a month, we'll send you a DVD of tonight's Now Entering Richmond program. Become a member with a $10 monthly contribution, and we'll send you the DVD plus a Ball State PBS tote. The DVD features stories not seen in tonight's program, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of production day. All you have to do is call 800-252-9472 and talk to one of our volunteers, or go online to ballstatepbs.org.
Now Entering Richmond is presented by Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, Belden, Bethany Theological Seminary, and B&F Plastics, with additional support from Richmond Art Museum, Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, Wayne County Foundation, Wayne County Historical Museum, Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, Black Dog Printing, Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and Depot District Association.
Bethany Seminary in Richmond, Indiana makes educational opportunities accessible to all qualified students with in-person and online courses. Bethany provides students with the opportunity to earn a graduate degree without taking on debt. B&F Plastics is committed to innovation, quality, and excellence in all of its products and services. B&F Plastics has a rich history dating back to 1988 when it began as a screen printing company. Today, the company has evolved into a leader in material extrusion.
Support exceptional programming that challenges, captivates, and inspires.